Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ball Watching. It is showtime. Justin, the boys are back. We're back in the win column. It feels good. It feels new. I feel rejuvenated after having watched that game on Sunday night. It was desperately needed, Justin. And I feel like looking back on it, not that we were okay with where things were headed, but I think we kind of had accepted our fate for what was happening so far in the season. And a win is always going to be welcome, no matter where you're at in the season. But the way in which it came, the vibes, just all the good joy around it, Justin. How did it make you feel on the inside? We don't talk about feelings a lot in this podcast, but I mean, it was something different.
Jake, it was something very different. I'll let you talk about the fun stat of how many times we've actually won a game after going down. But because I pretty much wrote this one off after they scored. I'm like, all right, because I felt great. We'll talk about all the details, but I felt great about how we started. I felt like the fans were behind them. Energizer Park was absolutely rocking, and it was awesome to see us come out firing. And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna get one, we're gonna get one. And then they scored and just took the wind out of our sails, and it felt like we were just depleted. And I didn't see that energy that we started with, and I get it. If you're those guys, it's like, here we go again. Like we had a chance, and we kind of dropped the ball. However, the way that they fought back made me feel very good about this team because Jake, we've talked about it. We at the beginning of the season with injury, it's like, okay, we've got some injuries. Some guys will step up that'll help us later in the season. Well, this season is almost all but done mathematically from a playoff perspective, but it's still showing that these guys still have a fight in them, even though they're not the ones that are going to be our consistent starters day to day. And that's what's extremely healthy and valuable when it comes to a locker room like that.
I agree. And I think there's something to be said too about, and we felt this a lot during year one, that mentality, that underdog, you got all that bulletin board material. You've got everyone and their mother from a pundit perspective and even fan perspective talking bad about you. And no one expects you to do anything. And you get a team like Portland, who you and I teed up, Justin, on the preview, definitely been overperforming for a good chunk of this season, and kudos to them. But they looked second best all night. And there hasn't been many games, Justin, even in the season, take the wins, losses, draws out of it, take the results out of it. Performance wise, we've had a couple of games where I do feel pretty confidently that we were the better side on the night, regardless of the outcome. But this was one that I did feel very confident about, during the game that, it was more of a complete game. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like there was 15 minutes there. We just blitzed them, got our goals. It was, we were doing well in the beginning. We kind of lost, took the foot off the pedal. They get their goal. We mount a big comeback in the second half. We didn't really go away at any point during this match, which is new. And we'll talk about the stats and stuff like you alluded to. But like that new feeling, as old as this season has gotten to us, there was some newness to this.
Absolutely. I'd say the first half, especially the first 20 minutes prior to them scoring, was all us. I think there was some opening. You could hear it in the announcers like, yeah, they had some chances here or there, but it was really, truly something that I think we should have put one away. I don't know if there was an exact one that I would say like, oh, that should have been a goal, but just the amount of chances that you have, you feel like you just need to capitalize on that because it doesn't come very often that you're just going to jump straight out and hit these guys right in the face, especially with the season that we've had. But the momentum was on our side. After they scored, that's where I really feel like we dropped off a little bit. And I get it. You kind of lose your I guess, positiveness. And it's like, oh God, like how are we going to come back and do this? We haven't done this yet this season. And I think they did a nice regroup at halftime, and it was a great sight to see, and it made it for a nice Sunday night for us, Jake.
It did. And I know we usually do our "What are you watching" here, Justin, but I'm going to spoil it for us. And what are you watching? You're watching Ball Watching right now. We don't plug ourselves enough, nearly. So if you're listening, if you're watching, make sure you're subscribed to Ball Watching at Ball Watching on Twitter/X and Instagram. We're on, what's the other one? Threads as well. Is anyone still doing that? So make sure you're following us everywhere you can. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We've got some fresh new content teas coming out here over the coming weeks that maybe you folks might have seen some stuff like this before, but we think it'll be pretty fun and for a great reason. So a little teaser there, Justin, but we don't do it enough. But Justin, one thing we didn't do in this match or didn't see in this match was really any sort of alleviation to our injury issues besides Leuven, which we'll talk about here. But Justin, do you want to bring us into the Ball Watching injury report?
I'm going to bring us into the injury report, and that is presented by Rob Schmicken. So unlike the boys in red, an injury off the pitch shouldn't upend your life. Schmicken's injury law firm fights to obtain fair compensation for people who have been injured in car wrecks, trip and fall cases, on the job, you name it. If you or someone you know has been injured, give Rob a call at 314-222 4223 to discuss your case. Mention Ball Watching for a free consultation. And reminder for everybody on this, you will not pay unless Rob wins your case. So give Rob a call again, 314-222-4223, or check him out at HurtonSTL.com. Disclaimer, choice of lawyer is an important one, should not be based solely on our advertisements.
I love it. I love Hurton STL. Absolutely, give Rob a call if you have any sort of injury to yourself or to a loved one, friend, whatever, foe. Even make sure you give Rob a call. He's in your corner. Justin, I felt good about this as I was drafting this up. The report. I think it's the first time that we had been able to pull more names off than put on, or kind of upgrade maybe in terms of status. But in this one, the usual suspects were out for us. It was Baumgartel, Durkin, Morales, Kessler, Nilsson, Alm. We know Alm will be season ending, so we can kind of slowly drop him off here. But the new one that I do have to put on here, just from more of awareness perspective, not that I think it will keep him out of this weekend, is Celio. We saw him take a shoulder injury. He was in a sling after the game, apparently on the next day as well, on Monday. Today he was at training. It was more of a regen day for a lot of the starters from the past games. So a lot of the subs and the guys that just sat on the bench played, more rigorous in training. But Celia was slingless in training. So I think what Critch had to say about him was, obviously it's pain management here. There's no serious injury. There's no cracked clavicle like we're dealing with on the Morales side. So more of a day-to-day thing for him. We did see Winslow in training today. He did not play for City or City 2, was on neither bench either this match, but it looks like he'll be healthy and ready to go as he was in training. Baumgartel was also in training today, Justin, well, today is Tuesday, by the way, for anyone listening to this on a different day other than when we were live. Durkin doing some solo training as well. You love to see that. And, I'm just liking what I'm hearing, Justin. That's some names that have been out for at least a couple weeks. Durkin for a long time. Baumgartel's been a pain since he's been out. And then you got the more long-term guys, right? Like Morales, definitely a couple more weeks with the shoulder. But Kessler, Justin, this is one that I just keep a close eye on because I still don't think he's close. We're hearing light jogging right now for him. But to get a guy like that back would be huge for us in the back line.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jake, again, and I know you already know this, but there's no point in rushing this, right? I mean, this is the last thing that you want these guys to do is rush this, get an injury, and then not be able to. And then if you think about it, then they're out for 2/3, 3/4 of a season, depending on how these things go. And you're going to see a lot of these guys probably to be shut down a little bit more eliminated. I think the team is still going to be making a push, and there's not going to be an issue there. But from these injury standpoint, there's definitely not a rush. But another one, Nilsson, still out for the foreseeable future. That's a tough one again. Both of those guys as center backs. But Jake, guess what? We signed a new center back, and I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, no, everyone was today on social media. I think we'd mentioned him, Justin. Didn't really do too much of a deep dive on his profile, but Falu Fall, which, by the way, love the name. I'm already down. Very easy. He is a center back who we signed officially and announced today on a club record transfer fee. They did not disclose the fee publicly yet, but from what we've heard, it's in the 4 million range, which is a big deal for us to make. And the reason I think this is, Justin, is for anyone that doesn't track these types of things or just look at transfers, they don't support any, of teams abroad, and they've lived and breathed, the transfer season, because it's like a whole season itself that has no games most of the time. This guy is both a ready now player, I think, and a pathway for the future. Has a lot of room for development. He's 6'4", left-footed, obviously a center back, like I'd mentioned, and extremely athletic. He's got line-splitting passes. Lutz was waxing poetic about him in the article, and Justin, you can read that comment there. But again, he's 21, so he'll come in on a U22 contract. We've got him through 28, and then an option for 2029. I think, Justin, I'll mention one thing that we'll get to here as well. But what I like about this is, even if this guy is maybe not, a permanent St. Louis lifer, right? I like our buying these types of profiles. And yeah, they're a little expensive. You're taking a shot on some of these guys, but they can come in, hopefully get some first team minutes and more, and grow and really come up and be a top player, because there's a lot of money to be made in developing players like that and selling overseas as well, whether that's to Europe or to South America. You're seeing, today I even saw Atlanta United has gotten already 25 million from the sale of Thiago Almada just from sell-ons. We got a sell-on today as well, Justin, as a percentage from Isak Jensen, who transferred away from Viborg, where we sold him to, and he went to the Eredivisie. So we've got probably, I don't know, between what I saw maybe 500 to $800,000 just for retaining a sell-on percentage. So I wanted to bring that angle here, Justin. I'm so excited for him as a sporting guy. Like I just love a big left-footed center back. They're a dime a dozen in this league, or really just in world football in general, in my opinion. But he's got the tools from what I'm hearing from the club.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, he's a young guy with a lot of untapped potential. That's one of my favorite things whenever we were in college. Me and Max Carter, we play a little like 2K. He'd always say, hey, grab this Giannis Antetokounmpo guy and hit untapped potential on this. I think that's what we have here, Jake. And the comment from Lutz gets me even more excited. It says, Follow is young, line-breaking defender who brings the size, athleticism, and defensive instincts we value to our back line. At just 21 years old, he's still developing, but we believe his physical tools, technical ability, and mentality give him the foundation to grow an important piece of our squad. He's someone who can help us this season, and then even more importantly, be a part of a long-term vision. Bringing in a player like Falu reflects our approach to adding young talent and building a competitive team for both now and in the future. And Jake, that is a spot on point for this. If you go out and you look at what Transfermarkt has as his typical market value, just a year ago on June 23rd of 2024, do you know how much he was worth back then?
I saw it, so I'm spoiling it, but I think it was like 100,000 euros, maybe.
100,000 euros. And so this guy has been absolutely skyrocketing just in the last year. And so, yeah, you want to be a little careful. Like, okay, how much more can this guy really be growing that quickly to be now what they have him as a 2.8 million euros? But Jake, my thought here is this is, even though it's a $4 million, it's an expensive price tag for us, but I think it could be a very much buy low and not even sell high. Yes, we could always look to sell high, but this is a buy low and really just develop this young guy, get him into a system that works for him, and get him into a club where we're going to be all eyes on him. He's going to be playing directly for us and pushing with this. And he's got the guys around him to be pushing him with it. Like, if you think about this, he's got Nilsson, he's got Kessler, these other guys. He's going to have Berkey behind him for the rest of the season. And for the love of God, please, a couple more seasons. He's going to have Lutz. We have plenty of guys in this staff that can help grow and mold this guy. And I think it's a great pickup for us.
Yeah, and I know that we as a club are a little reluctant on the transfer fee side, right? And this one kind of goes against that, right? 4 million from what we're seeing. That's a hefty sum for a club that is a little bit, uneasy on paying those sorts of sums. But again, if you're going to do it in this time period that we're in right now, where, these last two seasons, I'm including this season and the past season in 2024, you've got to work your way up. I would rather us spend the type of money on, I'm not even going to call it projects, but guys that can come in, make an immediate impact, slot in, get meaningful minutes, but also have so much more runway to build themselves on. And we can do that. And we can be a part of their future, whether that's here or their future elsewhere. Like, we can also position ourselves as a club that is a great place to develop and grow your game and make your next move. Like, we can become a companion, right? Like someone that's not just here for ourselves selfishly, but a part of the journey, which I think MLS is trying to kind of position itself in general, where you don't just see the end of the day's superstars. You want to see the guys that have a lot to prove, that they want to come here to use this as a catapult or a platform to go into Europe, to go to South America, for example, Justin. But that wasn't it for us. That's the only final one we know of right now. We also, per Tommy Scoops, friend of the pod, have had some deals we're finalizing for Sang-Bin Jung and defender Devin Paddleford, both from Minnesota United. I do know, Justin, we only have one roster spot now available, one senior spot with this signing from fall. So I wonder if both these do go through. But Sang-Bin Jung is that more attacking flair that I think you and I probably get into turnstiles for, get a little more excited about. And he's been one that had a good season last season, but it has not been the same since they brought on the new coach in Eric Ramsey. And I think he's looking for a breath of fresh air. We've got some control, just the rest of this season and an option for the next on him. He's a U22 as well. So again, look at the trends here. We're looking at this age profile. We're trying to bring in some young Top Gun talent and really see who can hit and become a meaningful, player for our squad without having to sign them for too long of tenure. You know what I mean? This is more of a rent before you buy situation I'm seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jacob, for anybody that hasn't really followed him or get an understanding, especially on Sang-Bin Jung, is that he last season had 2,200 minutes for Minnesota. He played in 32 of their 34 games, and he started 25 of those. However, to your point, now with the new coach and some of their new signings, has absolutely fallen off the depth chart for them. This season, he has only started 2 games, played in 15, and only has 309 minutes. That is just over 3 full 90s. So this is a thing for him that it's really been, just sad to see a guy with that kind of talent, because even last season for them, Jake, he still put together 6 goals and 2 assists. So that is and if let's take a reminder, last season we had no one with 6 goals on our entire team. And this team is now just not even playing this guy. So it's going to be a great pickup for us. I really do. To your point, I think it's a lower age. One of those things where I think we're getting him at a low price, and it's not even a buy that low. I think it's that he's got a lot of potential and untapped potential as well, being a 23-year-old, just turned 23 back on April 1st. And it's going to be a guy that's going to be creative and shifty. And I think I'm pretty excited to be able to see what he can do for this team.
Yeah, the scouting I've seen on Songbin Jung is his IQ, is his soccer IQ is off the charts. He's athletic. He's not, very big in stature, but he can play across the forward line. He can get in behind. He makes some dangerous runs. And Minnesota just wasn't working out. I think they were deploying him as a fullback, as a wingback at times, and that was taking him really out of his natural positions, which is just more across that forward line. And I think he'll give us a good option this season. If we like what we see, we can choose to take that club option up for next year, or we can extend them. You have a lot of options of your loots, but I think the cash on this trade shouldn't be astronomical, in my opinion, considering he is surplus to requirements for Minnesota right now. Like their leverage is kind of off the table a little bit here. So we haven't seen the number because it hasn't been totally finalized yet, but I imagine we're getting a decent deal here. He is on some serious comp at just over $700,000 in guaranteed compensation left. So he was brought in to be a huge piece of Minnesota from Wolverhampton Wanderers and didn't pan out for one reason or another. He's got a cap for South Korea, the South Korean men's national team, not the U23, not the U21, the actual national team. And I'm just excited about getting a guy a breath of fresh air, giving him a new change of scenery in St. Louis here. We're on the up. We're all trying to turn this thing around. Can he be a big part of it? And if he is, I think we can show him some respect and keep him here for a little bit longer. So that one really excites me. The loan, not as much. Devin Paddleford was, I think, their first homegrown, Minnesota's first homegrown. He's only 22 still. He's given them some good, depth in terms of time at left back and center back. It sounds like left back is where you'd probably want to look at him for in terms of our team. So I'm not sure, again, if either of these fully materialize. It sounds like they will, at least maybe one of the two, and that I imagine would be Jong if I'm not mistaken. But again, it's funny they both come from Minnesota. Minnesota's been a good team this year, and they're shedding some spots. It looks like maybe trying to maybe bolster during the window to make a big run here into the MLS Cup. But we can benefit from that certainly.
Absolutely. I think this is one of the deals that makes sense for both teams, right? It's like, hey, we got a little bit of surplus and you guys suck. So why don't you just take what our surplus is and they're going to make some money on it? And hey, we're both going to walk away happy. So I think it works out for us. But Jake, I think we've done a lot of talk. We're 17 minutes in. We talked about all of our players, our unfortunate injuries, newcomers. Now we need to do a quick recap of this Portland game because it truly was exciting. And I think there's some important parts that we need to hit on. First, starting with the Hoffman brothers starting 11 for us. So again, this is one where we always, it feels like kind of a toss up on what we're going to do. One with the back line. I feel like Orozco was a solid start again for us. So that was a perfect fit. Totland again, you kind of know what's going to happen there. It's those center backs where we still don't know what we're doing. Are you going JGR? Are you going Hebert? Are you going Yarrow? Ended up going JGR and Yarrow together. Shocking to me again with the whole Yarrow situation of it. In front of them, Ostrak and Vollum, which is kind of seeing where we're starting to land now. That seems to be a little bit more of a mainstay without Durkin and Leuven. But obviously Leuven coming in later. Hopefully we can see a full 90 out of him this coming weekend. And then in front of them, this has also been a little bit more of a mainstay with a slight tweak on Toy Shirt when you had Celio on the left, Hartel in the middle underneath of Klaus, and Toy Shirt on the right instead of Simon Betcher.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think my comments pregame were don't know what we're doing with Yarrow again. Like, why are we running this back? We know how this goes typically. To his credit, didn't really have too much to say about him in this match. And if I don't have to say too much about you, chances are it was probably a decent match. And then Toy Shirt as well. I think we had our concerns around what is he doing in possession when we're not inside, their 18, when, last year he was scoring goals for us when he got on the ball. He's a big poacher, just kind of finds the ball. It's a magnet almost and a great finisher. He has not found those moments this year. And when he has, he's been left wanting, in my opinion. And so when we're just in possession, not as much he can offer in terms of the buildup and that. And I think this game actually showed some improvement and some progression on that front for him. So I was happy to see him there, ultimately. But we'll talk about the other performances here, Justin. But again, everyone passed the back line. I wasn't overly shocked with maybe someone that said Betcher over Toy Shirt there. But Ostrak, Wallum kind of penciled themselves in because Leuven Durkin are still gone. Morale is still gone. So nothing really shocking here. But these boys, they came ready to play, which excited me as a watcher here. I mean, I loved the fire in their bellies because they came out and looked dangerous from the start.
They absolutely did. And Jake, I do want to share this picture that I saw on the St. Louis SC fan page. I loved this dude's shirt. It says, "We almost always almost win." And it was someone posted it there. I think shout out to Daniel Link that posted that, and just I felt that to my core, and I felt that even with this starting 11, it's like, yeah, that's a not the best starting 11, and then
Yeah.
let's see what we can do about it. But to your point, Jake, we started off hot in this game, and all the way up until they had their first goal, I thought we came out the gates extremely hot. In the 4th minute, you have Toy Shirt gets it behind, and Hartel lost one over the top, and he attempts a chip, but off the mark. That one, Jake, I would like to put a little bit more on Toy Shirt and he on himself as well. That was not a good finish. And I think he had a pretty wide open chance to chip it. The goalie was kind of in no man's land. Didn't have to get it up and down that quickly. He had probably 25 yards. So I wish he would have put that one away and we would just started off with an absolute bang. But then again, 2 minutes later, incredible ball from Klaus into Totlin running it behind. And Klaus pretty much QB'd it, kind of said, "Hey, go, do it." And you see that a lot from him, honestly. He does a lot with his hand gestures. Sometimes it's a fake out. Celio does that well, like, "Hey, you right here." And then he tries to just sneak in behind. But it's great to see him do that to push Totlin up. He wanted the cutback, but defended well. And Krapow comes out huge with a save there. But those are two of the first, just right off the bat, not even the first 10 minutes, to where I'm like already on the edge of my seat. I'm like, all right, it's Sunday night. We are actually in this and we are going balls to the wall to try to win this.
Yeah, in prime time on Sunday Night Soccer, what better time to do it? I loved in those opening 15. I made a comment here. Ostrak and Wallum on the ball. I think off the ball you can see some deficiencies there, but on the ball they were playing well together. And I loved our defense. We were looking pretty sturdy, pretty sure of ourselves, which is not something you can say about this season. Klaus was everywhere. He was running the channels the best he could. He was making space for his other fellow attackers. He was dropping into midfield to help hold the ball up, let us get forward sometimes. Totlin, my, was running that right flank. I mean, just everywhere. He got so vertical, maybe even left a little space behind him. But that gets me to my question here, Justin, just an open question for you. I think we've liked the Orozco profile a lot because what it sort of does for me is we play a back four, but in possession, the three kind of become our back line. When I say the three, Orozco kind of moves in to his right from the left back spot, allowing Totlin to push up, and all the other two center backs push right to fill that space in behind Totlin. And maybe one of your midfielders can do the same and drop back for him. But Orozco is not that guy to bomb forward like Totlin is. So he kind of stays at home, had a really solid, smart game in this one, really tenacious. Why I love his attitude. But I think maybe a key that we're seeing some success in here, Justin, is sort of being able to shift Orozco into the back line, play almost like a faux back three in possession, allowing Totlin to do what he does best, which is to combine with his teammates in midfield and bomb forward and serving some dangerous balls.
Yeah, and Jake, I would say Orozco, not only did he do well defensively, but he did well offensively, even though he wasn't getting forward as much. 50 of his 54 passes were completed, accuracy rate of 93%. That led the team. He also had 2 out of 2 tackles won. And one of the most surprising stats in here, Jake, just offensively for him, was that he had, where did they just go? I think he had 4 passes. Yes, 4 passes into the final third. So that's one where, yeah, if we're keeping possession there, you can kind of get that ball. That makes a little bit more sense. But he knows how to make those line-breaking passes. We saw that, unfortunately, kind of fall off in the game prior when he tried to get it in the Klaus and it was a little bit too tight. But he's looking for it, and he knows how to find that. So even though he is the one that is holding back and ultimately winning more balls defensively than Totlin, when he does get forward, he does it at a very nice rate.
Yeah. And the thing about Orozco that I want people to know too is this is not his first rodeo. He's not an experienced cowboy at this point, but he had already broken through with RSL before he came to St. Louis. So he made some first team appearances for RSL before coming to City and then really getting his reps at City too and impressing Critchley and then again coming up here. So this shouldn't surprise everyone, but I'm really like what I'm seeing. I do not think if we play this way, Justin, that Wallum really fits that role anymore as a left back, right? Because Wallum was brought in as that left wing back. And if we're moving away from the back 5/back 3, I don't really see Wallum getting any reps outside of urgency or crisis because I think he's probably better belonged going forward, more advanced positions like a number 8, number 6, even maybe even a 10, because he's just got so much more to him. And I don't think defense is his strongest suit. So I think the way we're playing now almost tells me that I don't expect Wallum to see many more, if any, starts on the back line.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to say this as well. That I've been getting DMs from Nate Kalish, big fan of the pod as well, and he actually asked me. He goes, "Where do you see Wallum starting to fit in now?" Because if you think about it, I don't think we're seeing him at a left back. He's right now he's playing that center defensive mid, but like I don't think he's going to dethrone that Leuven and that Durkin. And then Nate brought up a great question: is it a possibility that we could play five in the back and actually run it well? And if you think about that, because then that would put Wallum all the way out on the left, you can almost do like an Orozco. Orozco might fall off there, but then you have like that Baumgartel, Kessler, Fall, that trio right there, Nilsson, and then you have Totland on the right. It could be a possibility in the future. However, I kind of told him and he agreed. It's not something like we can try this later on in the season, but there's no point in trying it when not everybody's healthy because I don't want to see this thing kind of try out with Orozco and just pushing it there to see where Wallum goes. But I really don't know where Wallum's going to find himself in this lineup when everybody is healthy.
I think you're like my 11 we talk about here in the preview. But I do think just another theme here in this match and last match is with this defense, our defense is getting punished to the max when we mess up or when these teams have a chance. They're finding these once in a lifetime low XG, bad to good type XG chances, and they're just burying them on us as of recently. DaCosta, I do think there's some things we could have improved on here, but the finish is just fantastic. Danced into our third on a progressive pass. We could not catch up to him. The only person that was really getting to him was a back press from Klaus. Again, if that's your center forward doing that work, you've got issues here. We were not quick enough to close down and step up to him, and he fired a great shot into the far post from the top of the 18. We got exposed there on transition, but again, this is a shot from distance. You don't expect a lot of these to go in, but a player like DaCosta, who we planned for in the preview, is going to make you pay in those moments. All I wanted to make that point, though, Justin, is that you hope that this kind of comes out in the wash over time. Like these low XG chances are killing us right now. I mean, think back to the match prior. I think we had a .08 and a .03 go in on us. I mean, those are just unheard of. You hope again that gets better, but again, there are things you can improve. I think transition was one thing that we definitely could have been better on this one.
Yeah, if anybody didn't see it, we put a reel out there just kind of breaking down that goal. And honestly, Jake, I made that at halftime because I thought the game was done. And I was like, oh, this reel will do really well when we don't win this game. So shame on me. But I will say a couple of things I want to do on that one. One, I think we could have been prevented if Ostrak actually knew where DaCosta was. We got caught flat again with our center defensive mids, and they were only 10 yards apart. And then on the right side was another 10 yards from him was DaCosta. Two, once he has that ball, he has just 20 yards of space as our defenders drop. Unfortunately, Toland can't stop to him because he is a runner down the wing. JGR has his man, but that's where you have to leave your man and Yarrow needs to slide over and take your man because he needs to step up and close down that space and stop the ball because, like you said, Klaus is not going to get there. And then three, once he beats JGR and rips the shot, Yarrow was jogging in and could have blocked that shot. I don't know why. I know it's a little bit tough. It's a last second ditch effort, but that one I think that we could have easily saved on all three of those different types. And then in the comments as well, Fredinho asks, he's like, love the breakdown, but why doesn't Yarrow have the right to be pissed? I kind of replied and was like, I agree. He has the right to be pissed that we get scored on, but I don't appreciate the body language of throwing your arms up like you're pissed at everybody else on the field, when in reality, that is something that you also could have prevented. I think if you're frustrated at yourself and you look down, kick the ground or punch the ground, fine. That's frustration. Kind of show some on yourself. When you throw the arms up like there's nothing else you can do, that's not a good team mentality. And I did not appreciate him doing that because it's also not the first time we've seen him do that.
Could have been worse, even Justin, in this first half. They got that goal in the 19th minutes. Felt very eerily similar to how a lot of these matches have gone. And it very well could have been had it not been for Roman Berkey, who, in my opinion, was not nearly heralded as much as he should have been in the wake of this match. He made two class saves, one right before halftime, one right on the other side of halftime. Two 1v1, just him and the attacker. I mean, big hands, big paws, getting an arm, getting any part of your body to them. The first one in the 41st, he got a piece of, and it was saved off the goal line by one of our defenders. Big game changer. Going down 2-0 before halftime could be curtains for this team, knowing how we've not come back in a game before in this season and in a long time. In the 48th minute, on the other side of halftime, another big 1v1 save. Portland played a little bit of a 1-2 where the one of that 1-2 kind of kept continuing his run centrally. We didn't stick with him tight enough, got in, again, 1v1 with Berkey, played big, cut down the angles, got a body part on it, denied that. And it gave us, I think, the lift to say, okay, hey, he's pulling his weights. obviously as hard as he possibly can, keeping us in this match. What can we do to make this? And I think Tomas Ostrak puts this on his back. I know Hartel got the goal, and it was a little bit fortunate how it got there, Justin, but Ostrak for me, I'm an Ostrak stan. I've always spoken his praises, and I'm feeling good where I'm at right now because he's been a top performer these last couple matches, in my opinion. I know he's only really getting time because Leuven and Durkin and Morales are all out. But I mean, what else can you do besides impress in the minutes that you're given? And he looked like he belonged out there for us. He looks like one of the best players on the field.
I would agree with you. I obviously you're a huge Ostrak guy. It's starting to grow on me, especially like you said, Jake. I mean, you can only do as much as you're allowed to and what you're given, and he's been doing a great job in holding that. And it's not an easy position. We've seen a lot of people try to go in there and try to fill this spot, and he's actually doing a fantastic job being able to do it on his own. So I was trying to see if I can pull this up and share it for us. But there's a couple times where he's actually been able to collect the ball and hold it for us, and it's been something that it's not been easy. And I think Wallum can do well in the tight spaces, do quick turns and get out of there. But Ostrak almost sees the field a little bit better. And I think he realizes that I'm not the guy that should be scoring the balls. I need to be the facilitator. And I don't think we have a lot of those guys on our team because I think a lot of them do have the ability to do it. But Ostrak may have a little bit of a lesser ability to be the scorer and truly looks to find Hartel's feet, Klaus's feet, Leuven's feet when he's on as well, Celio's feet, Betcher's feet. And I think he likes that role and he understands that that's where he needs to live if he wants to keep seeing time.
I love it. No, thank you. Thank you for the validation there, Justin. I mean, he picked this ball up basically on the top of our 18, made a insane carry, almost got dispossessed, slid to keep it alive into an oncoming midfielder, drove it to basically the halfway line for us, found Hartel. Hartel did the rest, got it out wide to Celio. Celio plays the cutback in for Hartel. You're seeing it on your screen here if you're tuning in to us live. But the hard work was done before. Hartel finds Celio. He cuts it inside. A little bit of a fortunate touch there for Hartel, but man, he banged that one home. If I'm Hartel, you haven't scored in a while. It hasn't been your best season in terms of G's and A's, right? The true output there. So maybe if that was me, I'd be one looking for that, just kind of side touch it just into the corner, just nestle there, just make sure it gets there. He put his laces through that. I mean, just an emphatic finish for a leader on this team, someone who I'm sure has been frustrated with the results. But again, it all starts with Ostrak and an incredible progressive carry that he made through the heart of that midfield. And then Hartel Celio did the rest. I loved this goal, Justin. It felt resilient in nature. And to me, it was thematic of the night for us.
Yeah, I think Jake, this is a perfect example of what this team has is we have the ability to make that build up. Typically, we've been lacking the ability to have that final finish, especially earlier in the season. You know what? I'll take a little bit of luck. I don't really care. At this point, he's still putting his laces through it and making sure that, hey, even if the goalkeeper gets a fingertip on this one, it's still going to the back of the net. So I love what Hartel did there. And you could tell how much it meant to him with that celebration. Somebody else put it, I think in the comments here, is, Amy said, it was such a good time. The players' faces said it all during the celebrations. All of them. Celio posted like 3 or 4 pictures of them celebrating, the smiles. Yeah, whatever this whole thing is, absolutely love it out of the fellas. They're having a good time. The locker room is back.
It is. And the fans, the vibes are back, not just with the goal. The goal helped. Then Leuven comes back on the pitch. The standing ovation, the crowd up, welcoming their hero home. He immediately gets on the free kick, almost scores. I mean, just fizzes one into the near post, and it caused the goal.
Jake, I'm gonna say I was shocked that it was him, Orozco, Hartel, all these guys standing over it. I'm like, surely they're not gonna have Leuven's first touch of the game be this free kick, right? Good God, though. I'll rewind this after this. That was a dipping ball up over that wall. That was insane for that to be his first hit. Like for everybody that knows this, you're warming up over there doing cones. At best, you might be dribbling the ball. You're not ripping a shot on this. This thing is going right into the bottom corner, and that's the most that the goalkeeper can do. Jake, I was a little worried on the replay when we watched that. I thought Hartel was offsides. Yarrow for sure was offsides. If Yarrow would have been in this play and they called that back, I would have lost my stuff.
No, for sure, man. I'm with you. And again, this second goal for us started with Leuven. He entered the pitch. 2 minutes later, we're in the back of the net again via Hartel here, where Leuven's free kick was saved, but it caused enough chaos. Hartel kept it alive, crossed it. Betcher couldn't get enough on it for a finish right in front of net. We recycle it out the other side. Hartel, though, lingers on that back post and gets up for an aerial challenge, which you don't, again, see a lot from him on, and just heads it hard, heads it down as best he can, gets a nice deflection off the defender there, but it is headed towards goal. So he does get the credit for this one and gets the rightful brace. Wallem on the service. Again, an incredible service. I mean, that's a hard spot for a goalkeeper to come out and claim, and you should not really let this ball in. But I think the pace that Wallem hits it at and the pace that Hartel heads it back across net with just troubles that defense enough, who was already kind of on the ropes when the Leuven shot.
This should never be a goal. Like this is us. We need to take credit when credit's due. This is us getting kind of lucky as well. Jake, look at this. The defender might throw the keeper off a little bit, but Hartel didn't even touch the inside of the 6. He is that wide when it comes to this goal. His left foot is not even on the inside, jumping from the outside in a great header.
He caught it though.
Oh,
he caught
put some
every bit
on that for sure.
Yeah,
and that's something I'm going to go ahead and say, Jake. I don't think Hartel scores another head ball in his career at City.
Probably not. Probably not. But we'll take this one because that was enough for us, and it was enough for us because we grew a little bit of cojones in this game too, man. We killed this game. There wasn't a whole lot of nervousness there was nervousness in me because I've been hurt before, basically all season with this team. But on the field, there was only one shot on target be allowed after our game-winning goal. It wasn't the hardest of those opportunities. It was Berkey's 3rd save of the match. He meant, again, remember, 2 big saves that came way before this and 1 final save. It was a safe save for him. Otherwise, we got numbers 4 when the ball got turned over and we stuck up and won it, or when they got dispossessed. We balanced sort of threatening to score a 3rd and also just taking time off the clock, drawing fouls, taking it to the corner. We played smart. I thought Wallem, especially in the game, there was a great moment that I captured, 90+4, where you could tell he was tired. He'd put on a shift. It's him alone in the corner. He's sitting on the ball alone, trying to kill time, sitting over it, really trying to hold off. I think it was Chara that was all over him. No idea how there was no foul given in there. It was definitely some licks he was taking. Portland did not go down easy. They were chippy. They were pissy about losing this match. And he obviously drew the foul finally. And Chara, oh my God, Chara goes down on this whole thing. And as he's getting up, Wallem walked over to him, gives a nice little pat on the shoulder, said, "Nice try, buddy." It wasn't the exact verbiage, but it was the vibe because Chara got up and he was pissed. I just love that little mindset too, Justin. Like it drives me. It's cool.
Oh, it was awesome because if you saw that too, when Wallem goes down, Chara, I don't think Chara meant to, but he slides. And I don't know how, if he didn't connect with Wallem's head, it looked like his shin goes straight into Wallem's head. And Wallem just gets up. Nice job. I'm going to take this one. And this game's going to bed. We're going to take our time on this one. We're going to milk this clock. And it was fantastic by him. But Jake, we've already touched on a lot of them. Individual performances. Hartel had 7 chances created. Ostrak, 7 passes into the final third. Orozco, 10 defensive actions, 100% on tackles, and 4 passes into the final third. Berkey, only 3 saves, but he had a 1.9 XG faced, aka he prevented 0.9 goals, aka pretty much an entire goal, which gave us those 3 points. And I'm shocked that that's not higher, honestly, because those saves that he made were extremely impressive. And then CDE actually had a pretty solid game as well. I know we've been giving him a little bit of a hard time, but I thought, especially in the beginning of that game, I could see that he was in the mindset. And he was also trying to be a facilitator too. So subs, great to see Leuven back in the 66 for Ostrak. Betcher came on for Celio in the 67th. Watts for Toy Shirt in the 82nd. I think that was more of a legs. And also, let's milk this clock, slow this thing up a little bit. And then same thing with Hebert for Orozco. Orozco did look like he wanted a little bit of a change.
Yeah.
And Hebert, I'd say in that point, Hebert is a solid actual sub to put there because you know that guy's not messing around when the ball gets to his feet. That thing's getting absolutely lumped, and he's going to be running through guys like an absolute train. So I'm okay with putting Hebert in late in the game.
12 matches left in this season, Justin, for us. We need 27 points to reach that magic number of 45, which usually gets you into the playoffs. And again, into the playoffs meaning the wild card in this case for us. So we need 27 out of a possible 36 points required. It's not over yet, but it's certainly getting close. But this win definitely helps things. We're only technically 9 points out of a wild card as of today. Austin has a game in hand as well. They're the ones that hold down that final 9th spot. But again, got to beat the teams in front of you. And right now, they're all in front of us in the West. So got to beat Dallas as you talk about Dallas. But before we move on to Dallas here, Justin, final thoughts here. Winning from a losing position. We talked about the reverse as well a lot this season. But the last time we had won a game after losing in that game, being in a losing position in that game, was July 27th of 2024, almost a year to the date on this game, and that was against Dallas in the Leagues Cup. Last time we did it in MLS play was September 23rd of 2023. This team, as much as we love to sip the tea, sip the Kool-Aid, we are not a good team coming from behind. And this was a great step in the right direction for us. We've now gained 4 points this year from a losing position. We gained one against the Galaxy a couple weeks ago. And before this game and this year, Justin, we were 0-9-0 when conceding first. So a very outlying statistical game for us, but you love to see it. It gives you some fuel before you fly down to Dallas.
Absolutely. And we're going to need it, Jake, as well. So we talk about the past meetings with Dallas. 2023, 2-0 loss away and a 2-1 dub at home. 2024, 0-0 draw at home, a 2-0 L away, and a 2-1 W at home. So one thing that you'll note here, as you heard that, we have yet to score in Dallas. We have 0 goals for and 4 goals against. Where is Dallas in the standings? And yeah, do we have a chance to score against them? Hell yeah, we do. They're currently 13th in the West. So just right in front of us with 21 points, 5-10-6 win-loss draw. It's like, okay, they're not doing that great, but here's where the fun part comes in. 27 goals for, 39 goals against, or minus 12 goal differential. And here is a really fun stat. Only 9 of their 27 goals for have come in their 10 home matches. So that means they are scoring less than a goal per match at home. Montreal is the only team in the MLS with fewer goals for at home than they have. So this is a team that is very beatable at home. And Jake, what are some of the results that they have had when they are at home?
1-7-2 at home. We're going to talk about home a lot in this preview here, Justin, as brief as it will be, because they are the crappiest home team in the league. Again, just a quick reminder, they are playing tomorrow, not at home though. So they are on the road tomorrow. And we'll talk about, San Jose being that match, but some meaningful home results for them that I picked up on. Their only win came against our favorite neighbors out in Kansas, next to Nebraska Furniture Mart and Sporting Kansas City, where they went down 1-0 in the 32nd and then scored in the 37th and 39th to get that dub. So a little resiliency there for them. But otherwise, a 1-0 loss against Vancouver, number 3 in the West right now. 1-0 loss against Seattle, number 4 in the West right now. 4-2 loss against San Jose, number 8, who they will play tomorrow. A 2-1 loss against Minnesota, who's number 2. And none of those are very awful results, right? Those are all teams that are in the top 8 right now in the West. And they're all pretty tight affairs. But again, home matches, you got to win your home matches. We've said it time and time again on there. We haven't been doing that this season, except for the occasional night here or there. But we're better at home, obviously, than we are away. And this team is the inverse, which is crazy.
Yeah, and so another fun fact, I didn't even have it in the doc, Jake, but just remember it off the top of the dome. 5 of their 9 goals that they scored at home have come in the last month. So prior to that, they had 4 goals in the first 4 months of the season when they were at home. So this team, turning around a little bit from a scoring perspective, but still struggling. And when we talk about struggling more recently, their form, their last 6, they're 27th in the MLS. Remember, there's only 30 teams. They have 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses. Last 10, they're dead last in the MLS with a 1-3-6 record there. So what are they doing wrong, or is it the coach or what? But I'm going to go ahead and say, what is this, Jake? Eric Kile?
I love
Quile?
The thing is, I don't know. I would have gone Quill on this one.
Okay,
I'm gonna bet.
Yeah, that probably, I was trying to give it a little bit of spice down in Texas. That's my fault. He came up for their head coach through North Texas SC, the USL League One, was the Columbus Crew assistant coach, and then the head coach for New Mexico United, USL League coach, and Coach of the Year nominee for them as well. So congrats to him on all of his great stuff down in the non-leagues in the MLS. In the U.S. So their formation, they do play an aggressive vertical 4-2-3-1, but I've also seen recently, Jake, and I was looking at this as well in FotMob, they do move into a 5-3-2 and focus a little bit more defensively on those transitions. They have more direct attack and sacrifice less on pressing as well. We'll talk about who's going to do that for them, but some stats for this team: second least pass attempts, second lowest in possession percentage, and top 10 in take-ons attempted in the MLS. So this is a team that they're this is similar to us, where it's like they don't really want the ball. And honestly, Jake, I'm not really that scared of their counter though either. So what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to reliance on pace and creativity from 2 exceptional players they do have on the books, which is Lucho Acosta, their DP number 10, who they acquired in the offseason. He's that creative engine for them. By the way, he's acquiring his U.S. full-time residency as well, trying to make a push to get onto that World Cup roster. We'll see. I know Poach has spoken with him directly, and he was in Dallas to watch him play. But again, this guy's been an elite producer in MLS. 14 goals, 17 assists in 2024 before joining Dallas. And he's got 5 goals, 1 assist on the season so far, number 6 in passes into the penalty area, number 7 in successful take on. So he's a tricky player to try and defend, but he feeds the beast, and that beast is Pedar Musa, their designated player striker who makes those off the line runs, a very clinical finisher in front of net. He had 16 league goals in 2024. This season's got 7 goals, 4 assists. And they've got those wide threats. Anderson Julio, who we will not see, I don't believe, in this match that they got from RSL, just got pace for days, and then Bernard Kamungo as well. So those guys offer that touch line verticality, making sure they support these playmakers, creatives, and they get that pace in behind to make those transitions happen. So that's who I think they really rely on. Again, they're missing a piece here in this match from what I'm seeing. But again, if that's not working, if you can shut down any one of those couple of players, they're not going to have much to fall back on.
Yeah, quickly, Jake, I'm going to skip down and then we'll go back up. But the rest of the key players, you already mentioned Musa and Acosta, but I just want to remind people, you say the beast. Peter Musa is 6'2", 185, 27-year-old Croatian DP for them. So he's a big boy up top. And then one you haven't mentioned was Shaq Moore, kind of a guy that used to be in the U.S. men's national team rotation. Still solid for this team. He plays right back, likes to get up and down the field and contribute offensively when he does that. He has 2 goals and 2 assists, and that's just not by happenstance. So he averages 1 shot per game, 2 progressive carries per game, and 2 passes into the final third. And so that's going to be a guy, Jake, when we talk about he's a right back, so he'll match up with our left back. So is that going to be Orozco? Is that going to be a Jay Reed if we need to worry about the pace? So something we'll talk about in the Hoffman brothers starting 11. And then the last one as a key player for them is Sebastian Ibeka. He's a center back. He's a big boy as well. 6'2", 187, 33-year-old Nigerian, 9th season in the MLS and 3rd with FC Dallas. He leads the team in minutes, and he is the rock for them. So regardless they're playing 4 in the back or they play 5 to the back, he is the absolute center for them. And you mentioned injuries. Anderson Julio, lower leg out late July, so likely not going to see him. Another guy, Nolan Norris, don't really care. Ankles out early August. And then Paxton Pomykal has a knee bruise, and it says out late July. So the MLS has not had teams release their injury report just yet for this week as we're recording on Tuesday, but he'll be a one to keep an eye on because he's a guy that I feel like it could be a little spicy off the bench.
So really quick, back to this team defensively. We'll talk about some key stats before we talk about how we get at this team and our predictions and whatnot. All I could really pick apart on my scouting here was that when they do turn the ball over, when they do lose possession, they try to get back into an organized and compact mid block. So again, think about most of your numbers being kind of concentrated in and around that middle third of the pitch. And they do so to try to prevent those fast or quick transitions from other teams when they gain possession and really just make it hard to progress. They don't sit back and defend in a low block like in their own defensive third. They try to make it really hard to progress up the field. So that is kind of a defensive sort of thing I would say about them. Justin, we talked about the home form again. Dead last, 0.5 points per game in home matches this year for them. XG, number 29 in the league and number 29 at home even. They have the second least amount of shots taken this year in league play. Expected goals against, maybe they're better. Marginally. Number 23 in the league, number 24. So dropping at home. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen or done research for an opponent we face, Justin, where they're just this poor at home. But they are. They're underperforming even their expected goals against versus their goals against. So they're expected to concede about 1.63 goals a game. They're conceding 1.86. So going home is a problem for this team in the halves. The 29th best home team in the first half. So again, there's one team better than them. One team worse than them in the first half. I got that mixed up. And then the second half, they're the 29th worst home team as well at home. So again, you can get at them on both sides, first half, second half, and especially at home. Their attack, we've talked about them. They got those dual threats in Acosta and Musa. You got to close those down quickly, limit their touches, isolate them, frustrate them, see if you can keep pace with those wide threats there, Justin, I mentioned in Julio and Kamungo. And see if you can get some high turnovers on this team. See if you can make sure that you can manufacture some transition. Don't let them get settled into that mid block because we're going to have a hard time getting through that, right? We're not a great team when it comes to progressing to the middle of the pitch. Can we do a better job at that? But defensively, that mid block, again, it's going to be frustrating for us. It's going to be hard. They're going to try to soak up a lot of pressure in there. We got to keep Martin Pass busy, in my opinion, on a defensive standpoint. Has not had the best season as a goalkeeper in FC Dallas. But Justin, anything else you want to point out either on their attack or defense for us in terms of keys of the game before getting to our 11 and predictions?
No, the last thing I do want to mention is that I was just looking at, you're getting me excited, and I started looking at some betting lines. But they're not out there because, Jake, we are one of 2 teams that is not playing tomorrow. There are 14 MLS matches on a Wednesday. And fans, you should be excited to know that, guess what? This past Sunday that we had our game against Portland, that was the last non-Saturday night game we have the rest of this season. We don't have any Wednesdays, no more Sundays. So this team is going to be back on a nice cadence of only playing once a week, and it's going to be on Saturdays. You're going to get back in your flow. We're going to hopefully get some guys back off the injury report and back on the field, which is going to bring us directly into the Hoffman Brothers presented starting 11. Shibuya.
Hey, I literally had Hoffman Brothers here, Justin, yesterday. They were here to fix my dryer that I had talked about crapping out, which was amazing. The guy with Carson, by the way, was the guy here. They shot me the text that Carson's on his way. He'll be there in X minutes. Make sure you're looking out for this. They gave me like a picture. Like I'm not letting in a sketchy guy at the front door. I literally know exactly what he's going to look like. Came in, threw the booties on, got down, said, this is one of the quickest fixer-uppers we do. I'll be in and out of here quickly. And I'm like, great. Let me know if you have anything you need. Didn't need anything. I said, actually, hey, while you're here, can you take a look at this thing? It was another problem with the dryer that I was having. Took a look at it, proactively fixed it, repaired it, gave me the bill, paid for it there, sent me the synopsis of everything that went down. I mean, it was, again, we talk about white glove. Guys, we're not making this up. Hoffman Brothers does the dirty work. Literally, the things that you and I do not know how to do and do not care to know how to do, I will happily fork over money to people that care about my home, care about me, and care to educate me and make sure that I am safe here. It was an incredible experience. I'm so happy I did it, and I've done 3 loads of laundry today. So shout out to Hoffman Brothers.
Brother, there's a better chance that I would either wear dirty clothes again if my dryer was broken or hang them outside. So we need the Hoffman Brothers, and so do you. So if you need them, call 314-664-3011 or visit them at hoffmanbros.com. Not only what they've been doing for services around in houses in St. Louis, but also for the storms and tornadoes. And then also what they've been doing for you guys as fans. That giveaway, Jake, with the 4 tickets on Sunday night, that was absolutely absurd. With a home protection plan, with the flag, with the cooler, it was absolutely awesome. So these guys have been a tremendous partner of ours, and we could not be prouder.
So Justin, I told you might like this 11 because I'm kind of caught here now with the personnel that we have available. And now that Leuven's back, it's kind of thrown a wrench, right? Like I want to fit as many of our best in a wrench in the best way possible, right? I want to fit as many of our best players right now into an 11 that can carry threat and keep some consistency for us. So what I think I would do here is actually messing with things a little bit from a formation perspective, but not overly much. And hear me out. So if I could, I would keep the back line all the same minus Yarrow. I'd put in Hebert in Yarrow's place. So I'd go Orozco, keep him back up for this one, JGR, Hebert, Totland. But where things get different is I would actually go with a 4-4-2 almost, in that 4 in the middle, more of a diamond. So you've got 2 wider midfielders that are more your 8s. You've got a 6 that's sitting behind them and a 10 that's sitting ahead of that to kind of spearhead the diamond. And who would make this up is where it gets fun. I think I'd put Leuven in the 6th spot. I want him on the ball as much as possible. Our deep lying playmaker, breaks the lines, connects to play, defense to offense. I'd put Wallum on the left, that 8 role. I put Ostrak on the right. I put Hartel at the tip of the spear, and I'd line up with Klaus and Teuscher up top. I could also be swung on Betcher as well, but we've seen Klaus and Teuscher. I think that would be the goal, right, if you put it on paper. But what do you think about that?
Jake, I like it. And I was just moving that over to a clean Word document so everybody doesn't see all of our secrets that we keep in our shared doc. I can share this. But visually, it's because it is kind of hard to understand. So anybody that's watching this, I like this visual. And so the spacing obviously is just what I have in Word document. But what you would see here is you would have, because we're talking about this, where do you put Wallum on this? And I think that's where we could have this diamond. So you have your back 4, and then you have a Leuven that sits right in front of them, and then a Wallum and Ostrak, who I think get forward and attack. But when we get back in defensively, they're almost even with Leuven. So you're playing like a 4-3-1-2. And I think that'd be helpful because both of those guys know to be more central when needed, but can get wide and get down the flanks as needed as well. And to your point earlier, this is where Totland can get up with Ostrak, get around him, get into the attack with a Hartel and a Teuscher and a Klaus. The one thing I would say here is, do we possibly throw Betcher in as a starter? I don't know what would typically fit here, because I don't know if you see like we don't. I would still kind of want someone to be able to make runs in behind. If you do Klaus and Toysher,
Yeah.
I feel like both are hold up guys. But I love the idea here, Jake. Where you're going with like a it's weird when you look at it because it technically would be a 4-1-2-1-2, but
Yeah.
ultimately it's a diamond in the middle. So wanted to show it just so everybody could see it, but I kind of like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just in my idea of trying to put the best quality we have right now into the attack together. I agree with you, Justin. You do not have the natural runs in behind that verticality that Betcher brings. The other thing you might talk about too is who's going to get width or chalk on their boots there. I think the only width you'd get probably is through Totlin down the right side. But again, there's something to say about putting your best players on the field together and see it works. And right now we're in this trial period. Like no one cares. No one cares in the best way, right? Like no one cares about all the results the rest of the season. Like we don't. I want to see progress. I want to see guys get encouraged, guys season their moments and their minutes and showing something. Like, are they gonna be a part of this project in the future? So I want to see this. Like, I like where Critchley has gone. You know, he's shown courage. He's shown the ability and the balls to go for it. And so I want to see us do those in in these matches. So yeah, again, it's a different idea. I don't love tinkering, but especially after a win. But again, can you squeeze more quality onto the pitch together?
Absolutely. So, Jake, I think keys to the game. I like what you have here. I'm going to go just a little bit different, and I'm actually going to go a little bit more defensively here. Do you know when our last clean sheet was?
It's been a while. I know that. Do not
MLS
know that.
play. It was because obviously we got one when we played Union Omaha in the U.S. Open Cup. MLS play was back on April 19th.
Oh,
So, Jake, that will be now 3 months, right? April to May, May to June, June to
yeah.
July. And we are on the 15th. This game will be 3 months later before we had a clean sheet. And I think this team is asking for it as they're on short rest, which you're going to mention in yours. But a team that's been struggling to score goals doesn't feel like they're very teamy in this sense. I wanted to say like they have a lack of continuity as well. That's a better word. So I just think this is a game that we can really. I would like to see our defense step up a little bit more. We're starting to see sparks out of these guys, but ever since Critchley took over, our defense has not been that hot either. And I think that we're starting to get to a spot where, hey, regardless if you're the main starters or not, we need to be able to keep the ball back in net, especially when you have a guy like Roman Berkey. So, Jake, my prediction is a 2-0 dub because I'm going with our goal for that. What is your keys to the game and what is your prediction?
Yeah, so I'm going with a 3-1 dub. I predicted the same last one, and I almost got there, man. I thought Leuven would get that third for me there on that one opportunity that he had. Would have been exceptional. But 3-1 dub, and my goals to make that happen is early onslaught. You've got to pour it on and pour it on early and often against Dallas. Again, like you mentioned, short rest. They're playing tomorrow in San Jose. So going to be a little leggy, going to be coming off some travel as well. That's still a flight from Dallas to San Jose. They're a weak home team. We're playing on their home turf. They're a really weak first half team, as we already talked about. Can we demonstrate an ability to not just kill a game at the end because you're up, but kill a team early? Like, don't even give them a chance. Don't let them breathe in this match. Can we play a drama-free game? Like, would that not be so enjoyable as fans that have endured this whole season to have a result where it was just written the entire match? Like, you just knew Dallas showed up, didn't have what it took. They were leggy, they were tired, and we made them pay dearly. Like, that would be progress to me. Can you do it when you need to do it? And I think doing it in Dallas would be both logical from the preview that we just did and maybe where things are kind of heading in terms of form. So that's my prediction. That's my goal. Hopefully you agree.
Oh, I absolutely agree, Jake. And I think this is one that, yeah, I was trying to look for some lines earlier, but we're going to be throwing out an entry for Underdog as well. So Underdog is the place to play if you're a fan looking to cash in on all of your favorite athletes' performances. This is not just City. We're going to start playing around with this a little bit more, right, too, Jake, where we can have our Cardinals on there. You're going to have some football coming up later this year as well. So this is an exciting time. So if you have not already, use the QR code if you can see us today and sign up, or you can just use code ball watching and make your first deposit and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Yes, that is truly bonus cash. This is not stuff where like, oh, now I'm going to pay back later. Like, no, you can make entries and tail us and then win that cash back. So sign up for Underdog using code ball watching and tail us this Saturday.
You love to see it, man. Got a winnable match here coming up here in Dallas as we travel to Dallas on Saturday for this one. Again, they'll be on short rest. They will, not us. And then, you got to put your head down and grind the rest of the season. The window opens on the 24th. So these new signings that we're speculating on, that we have finalized with Falou Fall, they will not be available at the very earliest until our first game after that window opens on the 24th, which will be the 26th at home against Minnesota. A home debut would be awesome. Got a lot of things to sort out between now and then, but let's not hold our breath. We have the guys in front of us. They're fighting for us. Just gave us a nice dub at home here on the weekend. Can we continue? Baby steps. That's all we need in this team. And I think we got the tools to do it, man. So thanks for all for listening. Thanks all for joining. Follow us on social media, on X, on Instagram at Ball Watching, and let us know if you're liking the pod and what else you want to see us talk about or hear about. We are open and listening. So Justin, thanks for the time, man, and we will chat soon. In the meantime, all for City.
All for City.